Hi there, good evening and welcome to this edition of News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo. So we are coming to you live from the Platinum Place here in Accra, streaming across the world via our Facebook and YouTube channels. Let me bring you the details in our headlines. Nurse at the center of Rich Hospital chaos did not suffer a fracture or shoulder dislocation. That's the verdict of the investigative committee set up to probe the matter. We've got details as it also reveals there was no delay in attending to the emergency.
They hit me
all over.
But right now I have a dislocation on my shoulder and some headaches and body pains.
There was no evidence of fracture on her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder, joint as documented by the medical records.
Also, NPP issues stern warning ahead of Akwatia by-election, vowing to treat any military interference in the process as thuggery.
The NDC and the Ghana Police Service must know that as a party that has just exited government in less than a year, we have our eyes and ears on the ground and on them.
Interior Ministry imposes curfew on Solatuna Kalba Township after surge in insecurity over land disputes. We'll bring you details. In business, Bank of Ghana amends forex rules, sets new limits for travelers and traders. And on the international front, 2 children, 8 killed in shooting during Catholic school mass in the U.S. It's my pleasure to bring you the details of these headlines and other stories. Please stay with me. Grateful for your time once again. Tonight, we begin with Insight. Grateful for your time once again on Insight tonight. The New Patriotic Party has cautioned against military involvement in the upcoming Akwatia by-election, describing any such interference as an act of thuggery. At a press briefing at the party's headquarters, the MPP's Director of Communications, Richard Ahiagba, alleged the NDC is plotting to deploy national security operatives to intimidate voters and disrupt the electoral process. He claimed the NPP has gathered credible intelligence that the governing NDC intends to hide behind the guise of national security to terrorize some residents and voters in Akwatia. He therefore warned any soldier who involves himself in the election process will be treated as a thug.
The New Patriotic Party has very reliable information and intelligence that the NDC intends to hide behind the guise of national security to terrorize some residents and voters in Akwatia and during the by-election. It is instructive to note that the police administration has indicated their deployment of 5,000 servicemen for the Akwatia by-election. Despite the IGP's unequivocal assurance that the Ghana Police Service does not need any military support to maintain law and order, the famous Richard Jakba, my namesake, who has been appointed as the Director of Operation at the National Security, has been seen perambulating the Akwatia constituency with soldiers and reportedly threatening some indigents and residents to leave town before the by-election in their own interest. We are also reliably informed that the NDC has been training some of the thugs they used or deployed in Abdulmanaf parliamentary rerun under the guise of national security and intends to clandestinely clothe them in police uniform to deploy them during the by-election. The NDC and the Ghana Police Service must know that as a party that has just exited government in less than a year, we have our eyes and ears on the ground and on them, knowing what the NDC is noted for.
So that's the Director of Communications of the New Patriotic Party, Richard Ahiagbad there. Let's get a reaction from the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Mustafa Gbande. I'm grateful for your time this evening, sir. So these are some serious allegations being put out there by the NPP. The claim is that you're training thugs to intimidate voters in Akwatia. And also there's a claim that your Deputy Director of Elections in the person of Mr. Jakpa has been patrolling or roaming the township of Akwatia with some men seemingly intimidating residents. What are your responses to those claims?
Well, so good evening to our listeners and respect to yourself. First and foremost, let me emphasize that the NDC is ready for the Akwatia by-election. Indeed, we have deployed every strategy that is legal, humanly possible, to ensure that we win that by-election. And that is untenable. Number two, the NDC have so far demonstrated enough commitment to collaborate with the security agencies and the lead agency, Ghana Police Service, to ensure a violent-free, incident-free by-election. We've also put measures in place to ensure that we are able to protect every member of our party, every voter, and every single vote that will be casted in favor of the NDC. Mechanisms are in place to ensure that you cannot perpetuate electoral fraud as far as these elections are concerned. A person who addressed the MPP's frivolous press conference today have never stepped foot to Akwatia constituency throughout this exercise. Indeed, the MPP national officers are not in Akwatia constituency. They are in Accra. So it baffles me when people who sit in Accra conveniently think that you can impose a substandard parliamentary candidate, an incompetent one for that matter, sit in Accra and cook figures, projections, and then turn around to accuse security agencies. Now, they think that...
Mr. Gbande, just sorry to interject, but the claim that they may be sitting in Accra and not be on the grounds does not affect the veracity or otherwise of their claim, does it? I'm just wondering how that comes into the picture.
No, I'm not going to respond to... You know, you can respond to certain allegations, but what doesn't make outright sense, you don't go chasing it. Number one, when somebody says that you have seen Jakpa is a human being. Jakpa is a state officer. It is not alien that national security has an oversight as far as security is concerned on this country. Number two, the election task force is led by the Ghana Police Service, who says that the Ghana Police Service does not collaborate with other security agencies to ensure a peaceful election. It is crass ignorance for anybody to want to mislead our country to believe that when you see a national security officer performing their lawful duties, you are running away and making noise when it is not even election day.
Mr. Gbande, let me just come in here. Let's just go back in time to pre-2024 elections. Now, there were concerns about how the election security was being handled at the time. One will want to ask if it's necessary, considering how elections have been conducted over the years, and the fear of intimidation, especially when people see persons in masks, persons not appearing as police officers as we know them, soldiers and the like, it has an impact on people's sense of feeling peace and wanting to come out to participate in the process. Is it necessary? Why, even if it's the case, why do government officials need to go to Akwatia with soldiers or national security, if I may put it that way?
Any national security officer. In fact, if you want us to have this conversation, when you go to National Security Secretariat, it is an amalgamation of security forces from both NIB, police, and the military, and other agencies, in fact, customs and all of that, for the purposes of whatever national security is coordinating. There are officers who, will always go out to do their work. Now, if I see Mr. Richard Japa in Akwatia and I have nothing to hide, why should I be troubled?
But
Today it's not election.
Isn't necessary that Mr. Japa even goes there with such security officials?
You should be giving me reasons why it is not necessary for national security officers to do their job.
I am only asking because of the concerns of the impact this would likely have on the process.
Well, then we should tell the police officers to go and sleep so that we go for that election, because let me tell you, with or without the police, the NDC has a mechanism. Our machinery is well grounded to win us this election. The MPP went for an election with us in 2024 December. They had the entire state apparatus at their disposal. We beat them to their game. The NDC would not rely on the Ghana Police Service or national security to win an election. But let me ask, if it is alien for national security to have an oversight on any national election, then a lot of the MPP former appointees should be in jail by now.
Right.
But I don't think that it is alien, because national security, if you understand, has an oversight on anything, anywhere, any place, at any point in time.
Well noted. Right.
But the lead institution as far as election security is concerned is the Ghana Police Service.
Rightly
what the MPP is doing is to drive negative attention, is to find excuses. Whether they come, whether they don't come, they will lose election. That is what it is.
I'll have you hold
they are not campaigning.
I'll have you hold on just a few minutes for me. Let me engage Samuel Appiah, who is a security analyst on this. I'm grateful for your time this evening. So first, from the camp of the NPP, we had concerns about the police and whether or not they believed that the police was in right standing to organize this election, in the sense of not prosecuting or initiating a process to prosecute persons who were involved in some violence during the Abu-Baidoo North election. Now that is out of the way. The NPP claims that the NDC is using the guise of national security to intimidate persons who are likely to come and vote in the Akwatia by-election. And they are, in fact, warning that if they see any soldier on that day, they will treat that person as a thug. How is all of this playing into the potential security situation on that day?
Well, good evening to your viewers. I think let's get it in well and proper context as to what the national security is made of and the kind of assignment that the national security, by law and constitution, they can perform. Yes, of course, the national security has supervisory role as far as the state security management and all the other matters that concerns the well-being of the country and the progress and peaceful environment of the country is concerned. So the national security architecture is not a caricature of an institution where we mention and people get jittery and the people get intimidated and people get, some sort of apprehension because we are calling or mentioning the name of national security. It's just because we've been for some time now, used them to perpetuate some kind of activities that does not, sit well, and it doesn't really conform to what the national security is being, mandated to do. That said, the national security institution, we all know, that comprises the police, the military, and all the others that call together to perform specific mandatory duties. And so they have kind of unique identity that's well designed and must be seen as such. Any individual that would dress in a form of military or police that doesn't represent the lawful, uniquely identity of military, the person is impersonating. And it is criminal, it is unlawful, and such a person must be dealt with, because you cannot present yourself to be dressed in a military-like uniform in the
Well
country.
noted. Well noted, Mr.
While you are not a military officer.
I'm just imagining how all of this is going to feed into the September 4 event, and these accusations and counter-accusations. How should they be dealt with so that we don't see it translating into something else on the D-Day?
Well, I think the police has a duty to reassure the citizenry and the people going to cast their ballot in Akwatia that they are on ground, and they have the responsibility to ensure that the election is run smoothly, free and fair, such that no electorate will be intimidated, as I heard that someone alleging that people are being intimidated.
What for you will be that one or two things, briefly and specifically, that the police should do? They've come out to speak, they've actually met the two main political parties who have representatives in the elections. They've sat down together, and the police has assured them of sending enough men to the ground to forestall any confusion, if there will be any. So what more can the police do?
Exactly what the police can do is to tell the public that they are in charge. Any other person seen in any uniform that doesn't represent the police, that person has no role and has no any responsibility as far as the election is concerned.
I'm grateful for your time this evening, sir.
Stated categorically.
All right. I'm grateful for your time. That's Samuel Appiah. Let me just wrap up with you, Mr. Bandi. So we have heard from the NPP who have, from the onset, said they will take care of their own security. What is the NDC also doing? You have just outlined to us that you're confident of winning that particular election. But how are you hoping to ensure that there will be no chaos, at least from your end, in this particular election?
Well, just as I've told you, the NPP can go and build an armory for themselves. It is not our matter. We believe that processes that lead to winning an election includes, one, vigorous campaigning, choice of candidate, strategy of winning the election, and vigilance. We've put very efficient, competent mechanisms in place to ensure all these things are done. We have also demonstrated and committed to ensuring that we are law-abiding. In spite of the fact that we are campaigning, we will collaborate with the police to undertake a peaceful electioneering exercise. Now, you've seen NDC members who, one or the other, got involved in infractions in Ablekumanov being reigned before court. That also means that the law would work with consistency, that any other person that was involved in previous electoral violence, any other person from the MPP fraternity that was involved in some criminality, if any citizen can identify you in the Akwatia election, I can assure the MPP that that person will be arrested. We are not here to do the bidding of the MPP. We are here to ensure that the laws work, and the laws must be seen working. And so that is their fear. Their fear is also the maltreatment, the witch hunting they gave Richard Dapa. That is why they saw him and they are running after their own shadows.
It
is not our business. We are going in there to win. They should sit in Accra and be making noise. We are not going to be bothered by what they do. Let's go to the election. People will come and vote. The votes will be counted, and a winner will be declared. You can't come and impose a candidate that you know will not be near to your benefit, your political benefit, and then sit in Accra and making noise. The persons who are addressing the press conference have never been on the ground.
All right. We will be in touch with both sides, even as we prepare here from the EIB network to bring you a comprehensive coverage of the Akwatia by-election. But you just heard Deputy General Secretary of the governing NDC, Mustafa Bande. Thank you very much, sir. And that's how we end Insight tonight. This is News Tonight. Now, former Member of Parliament for Asin Central, Kennedy GHOne, has formally filed his nomination to contest the NPP's flag bearership position ahead of the 2028 general elections. Hundreds of loyalists thronged the party office, chanting and waving placards to show their support for the legislator, who is often referred to as an outspoken one, who has long positioned himself as a strong contender for the leadership of the ruling party, of the former party in government. Ubed Kingaglo was at the NPP headquarters and has filed this report.
Known for his unapologetic candor, business acumen, and fierce party support base, supporters of Kennedy GHOne thronged the party headquarters as he arrived to file his nomination.
What the people, the grassroots wanted is what we want to give to them as delegates. Because the mere grassroots people are saying, "Man for Kennedy and ba yan tuaba."
Nientia me pa ne men kro for ye support ye papa. Honorable Akwatia GHOne tell say, Akwatia ye nim no betimi aye. Ye de oman ne hye nsa, obebu oman no. Kama.
Addressing supporters who showed up to support him after filing his nomination, Kennedy GHOne charged his supporters to remain resolute even in the face of intimidation. Kennedy GHOne also urged the supporters to vote for him to create more jobs for the teeming youth in the party.
Ghanaians are looking for a businessman to create jobs for the youth of this country. We are no more going to listen to rhetorics. We want somebody who can create businesses for the youth of this country. I always say that any human being without a job has no life. Do you want life? Do you want life? Then vote for Kennedy GHOne for life.
Some stalwarts of the New Patriotic Party who showed up to support Kennedy GHOne also rallied supporters to vote for him.
These are crowds that are not rented. These are crowds that we call very organic crowds. I understand that in politics sometimes there can be cosmetic showmanship, but we didn't pass anybody. These are ordinary people that love the party. These are ordinary people that believe in the credibility and trust, have confidence in the Honorable Kennedy GHOne. They are ordinary party people who believe that we have to come to power in 2028. And they have tested water, and they have also tested wine. And they have come to the conclusion that at the end of the day, it is Honorable Kennedy GHOne that can win us victory.
This is organic support. It is resonating with the people on the ground. As a delegate, listen to your people before you go and make that decision, okay? Because what the people want is what we ought to present to the party as the leader of the party. And so that is the succinct message.
With the stakes higher than ever and the political scene in the MPP unfolding, the campaign for the flag bearership contest promises to be anything but a showdown. Reporting for GHOne News, Obed Kingaglo, MPP headquarters, Accra.
Well, shortly after that, another person who filed his nomination was Dr. Brian A. Champong, and his ceremony also drew hundreds of enthusiastic party supporters. Addressing the crowd shortly after submitting his forms, he urged his team and followers to remain disciplined, emphasizing the need to prosecute a clean campaign devoid of insults and acrimony. He also pledged to work towards uniting the party.
Starting with my Great Elephant Party, today I commit to join forces with you to continue the rebuilding of our party. We should reignite the base. We who are the heart and soul of our party. And of course, we need to unite our family once again. I stand not only as a flag bearer aspirant, which I know, inshallah, I shall win, but also to remobilize the youth of this country and channel them to opportunities and unearth their talent to prosperity. The NPP has a job to do in government. I shall win power and continue with that job. I shall focus on jobs, food security, and infrastructure. For security, you know that's my turf. Today, having now submitted my form to run as flag bearer of the MPP, it effectively means that I have submitted my declaration for unity, for a disciplined campaign. Thus, my supporters, north to south, east to west, must shy away from comments and commentary that smears individuals and ultimately affects the fortunes of our party.
Let's now hear from the former boss of the National Youth Authority, Pius Hattie, who is supporting Brian A. Champong.
You can see the crowd. You can see the interest of the people. Dr. Bawumia has served his party and his country well. He is one of the Moseses of the MPP. He's one of the Moseses of the MPP. But now the MPP needs a Joshua, and that Joshua is Dr. Brian A. Champong. In the heat that you see in the party, Brian A. Champong does not promise to give anybody a showdown. Brian A. Champong does not accuse any contender of being the reason of his defeat. Brian A. Champong rather stands in the middle, able to bring everybody on board. And so the first thing I see is the unity. The second thing that we see in Brian A. Champong is his clear youthful appeal. He's relatively young himself. The young people see themselves in him, and he is a doer, he's a deliverer. Even in the public space, you have seen what Brian A. Champong has been able to do for himself. If he can do it for himself, if he can do it for the people of Abetifi, you can be sure that he will do it for the people of Ghana.
You're watching News Tonight with me, Bernice, Abu-Baidoo. So when we come back, I'll be letting you in on revelations made by the committee tasked to investigate the Rich Hospital altercation. Do stay. Thanks for staying on News Tonight. Now, the committee tasked to investigate the Ridge Hospital altercation says the nurse at the center of the fracas with Ralph Williams did not suffer any fracture or dislocation as she indicated. It also disclosed there was no delay in attending to the patient at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital, contrary to the claims by Ralph Williams. Evelyn Abu-Baidoo reports the committee wants government to beef up security at the facility.
Raphael, I don't know, Ralph did this to me. He hit me with the phone with the fist, and I even dodged a couple of the fists, and they hit me all over. But right now I have a dislocation on my shoulder and some headaches and body pains.
That was on Tuesday, August 19, when the nurse caught up in the alleged assaults. Rejoice Chochobote recounted her ordeal to the executives of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association following the chaos that occurred at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital at 7:45 p.m. on Sunday, 17th August 2025. Following the incident, the Ministry of Health constituted a 6-member investigative committee to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the matter. However, the committee, led by Dr. Lawrence Abu-Baidoo, Director of Institutional Care Division of the Ghana Health Service, was given 7 days to investigate the circumstances that led to the alleged delay in providing care to the patients brought under emergency, the events and factors that escalated into an alleged assault of a health professional, the state of security at the hospital at the time of the incident, and the number of nurses and doctors who were on duty at the time of the incident. But the committee found out that there was no delay in attending to the patient with suspected head injury, who was the reason behind the agitation by Ralph St. Williams and the motorbike riders that he had been abandoned.
The committee found out there was no delay in attending to a patient with suspected head injury, who was brought to the emergency and who was the cause of agitation by one Mr. Ralph Williams and the motorbike riders, that the patient had been abandoned and there was a delay of care. However, the committee found out that all the diagnosis images or equipment that the emergency was supposed to use to facilitate care were not functioning. And thus, images requested for the said patient had to be done outside the facility.
The committee also found out that although there is a video evidence of a verbal altercation between Ralph, his colleagues and staff members of the hospital, there's however no evidence or a witness account received of the alleged physical altercation or attack. But there is a documentation in the hospital health information management system that the alleged victim, Rejoice Chochobote, reported her injuries on the left hand on the next day, 18th August 2025, and was further treated. However, there was no evidence of fracture to her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder joint as documented in her medical reports.
We are yet to receive any video evidence or a witness account of an alleged physical attack or altercation. There was no evidence of fracture on her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder joint as documented by the medical records. She was, however, had been treated at the time we visited. Had been given some pain relief, he was been recommended for a bed rest, and also has received psychological support care.
On the other hand, the committee finds that security at the emergency department was grossly inadequate at the time of the incident.
The security at the emergency department was grossly inadequate at the time of the incident, considering the volume of human traffic at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital emergency. A police post that is found at the premise of the hospital, but situated far away from the emergency, is also of concern. And the system is that anytime they have such altercation, the hospital has to rely on the Adabraka Police Command to call for help. And that's exactly what happened in this instance.
Again, the number of staff on duty at the time of the incident was woefully inadequate, as the department, as of the time, had 3 officers per day and 1 emergency specialist per day. Any other doctors visited the emergency department as a team on a call per day.
The number of medical officers in the month of August is 1 doctor per shift. That's 3 medical officers per day who are permanently working in emergency, supported by 1 specialist per day. Any other doctors who come there as a team to attend to cases and go away. We also found out that, for example, out of 88 nursing staff who routinely work at the emergency department every month, only 54 are currently on duty at posts, with about 34 of them already vacated posts for various reasons.
The committee commenced its work immediately after its inauguration on Wednesday, 20th August 2025, and ended on Tuesday, 26th August 2025. During the period, the committee had 4 formal sittings and interviewed 13 individuals under facilities management to investigate and submit its reports. Evelyn Abu-Baidoo reporting for GHOne News and Star FM.
Well, in response, Health Minister Kwabena Mensah-Kando has promised to get internal security issues at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital fixed by Monday, and also work on other recommendations by the Dr. Lawrence Abu-Baidoo committee looking into the Ridge Hospital altercation. The committee, among other things, recommended the need for trained security presence in adequate numbers, including Ghana Police Service personnel, where applicable, in all emergency care areas in health facilities.
We need to improve. There must be improvement in security presence at the emergency, the ambulance triage area, by adding at least 1 personnel more at the gate and ensuring that the gates at the ED are always manned by security personnel. Additionally, we also propose that the CCTV cameras around is very limited to some of the care areas. And so we propose that if it is not for any privacy, they should add on some more CCTV to give evidence and also ensure that the staff will know that somebody is monitoring them in their work. Also, the police office present at the mortuary area, we propose that at least at the weekends or night duties, the police must be present to support the emergency security, to just back up the 2 private securities they have. Also address to restore the capacity of Greater Accra Regional Hospital in providing imaging services.
And I assure the public that we will see to the full implementation of the recommendations. And I can hear far-reaching recommendations even going beyond Ridge Hospital. The next phase of the implementation of the recommendations, for me, is the most important stage. And so I can assure you that not only are we going to see to it that Ridge takes back its glory, but we'll make sure that whatever work you have done will also have positive impact on the rest of the health facilities we have in this country. As for especially the emergency issue about security, I can assure you by Monday, from here, I'm just going to give instructions for some of these things. In fact, the truth of the matter is that the very day we visited the hospital, I gave that instruction that they should look at the internal security. And I had the opportunity to also speak to the police. So some of these things have already started and they are in motion.
Away from health issues, let's do some security now. And government has announced a number of security measures aimed at bringing lasting peace to the troubled Beniri enclave located in Sola Tuna Kalba in the Savannah region. A statement by the Minister of Interior placed a 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew on the entire township and its environs effective today, August 27, 2025. This comes as the death toll in the ongoing conflict rises to 11, while several residents sustained varying degrees of injuries. Let me just bring you details of that statement. The Minister for Interior, on the advice of the National Security Council and by executive instrument, has imposed curfew on Solar Tuna Kauba Township and its environs in the Savannah region from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. effective Wednesday, August 27, 2025 until further notice, following recent land dispute issues causing security threats in the area. Government continues to urge chiefs, opinion leaders, youth and people of the area to exercise restraint in the face of the challenges confronting them and to use non-violent means to channel their energies into ensuring peace in the area. Noted by all persons in the Solar Tuna Kauba Township and its environs. Total ban on carrying firearms, ammunition or any offensive weapons, and any person found with any firearms or ammunition will be arrested and prosecuted. No 2 or more persons should be seen on motorbikes throughout the day. No war regalia should be worn throughout the day. Now, away from that, traders operating along the White Volta are urging authorities to implement robust safety measures to mitigate the impact of the annual Bagri Dam spillage. The traders claim the spillage caused by excess water release from the Burkina Faso Dam has significantly affected their businesses. They spoke to our Northern Regional correspondent, Kadiri Kasim.
So, the water, the way they open the water, because of that one, the cars don't want to stop and buy our things because they are afraid. If they come, they always want to pass fast. And the way it is, they used to sell, but because they say the water is coming, if they come, the market is no good. But it seems today, this year is better. The way they open the water, this year one is better. But if the government always want to open the water, it's always make sure that they know the time they should open it, but not this time. This time, it always disturbs us a lot.
Now, the Director General of the GES, Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, has cautioned parents and guardians not to pay money to any individual in exchange for a school placement for senior high school entry. He stressed the computerized school selection and placement system, thus the CSSPS, is free and not for sale, warning any person found engaged in the act is committing an illegality and will be arrested. The professor made these remarks at a press briefing to announce the enrollment guidelines for the 2025-2026 academic year.
The Ghana Education Service has announced that the 2025 school placement exercise will officially begin on September 17, 2025, following the release of provisional results for the 2025 Basic Education Certificate Examination, BECE. Students who receive placements are expected to report to their respective schools between October 18 and 20, 2025. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra to announce the placement model, Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Ernest Kofi Davis, assured that the process will be fair, transparent, and merit-based to ensure every student has the opportunity to pursue their educational goals.
I wish to assure all stakeholders, including candidates, parents, and guardians, that the 2025 placement exercise will be carried out in a fair, transparent, and merit-based manner. Preparation for the exercise has started. We have engaged in sensitization across the nation starting last June.
Regarding special placement, Professor Kofi Davis cautioned parents and guardians against making payments to secure placement in particular schools, stressing that the GES has a zero tolerance for fraud.
I wish to put on record today that placement is free. School placement is free. It's totally free. It is not for sale. Ministry of Education or GES is not linked to this illegal business. Anybody who sells placement to a parent or guardian is therefore doing an illegal business.
He also explained that placement will match vacancies, adding that private schools have also been added for students to choose and self-placement.
They are part of the database of schools that are available to be chosen. So students will choose them, and then we have self-placement, which is also a window for those who want to access the private schools to access. So they have already been integrated into the system. They are part of the system.
Meanwhile, text confirmation of candidate school choices under the computerized school selection and placement system will run from August 27 to September 1, 2025. The placement results will be published online on September 25, 2025, while call and resolution centers will be activated nationwide on September 16, 2025 to assist students and parents.
Time now to bring you business news updates.
The Business Brief is brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And the Bank of Ghana has cautioned the public against engaging in unauthorized foreign exchange activities, including black market transactions and the pricing of goods and services in foreign currencies such as the US dollar. In a statement Wednesday, August 27, 2025, the BOG directed all public and private institutions, as well as individuals, to immediately cease unlicensed foreign exchange transactions. The central bank emphasized that foreign currency invoices may only be issued to expatriates and non-residents, with all proceeds lodged in a foreign exchange account at licensed banks. It warned violators of the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723, will face sanctions and possible prosecution. The bank further directed that exchange rates must reflect prevailing commercial bank rates and align with the BOG's published reference rate. It further states that the Ghana cedi remains the only legal tender in Ghana. Accordingly, no resident of Ghana, unless duly licensed or authorized by the Bank of Ghana, shall price, advertise, invoice, receive, or make payment in any foreign currency for goods and or services, including but not limited to school fees, sale and rental of vehicles, sale and rental of real estate, airline tickets, domestic contracts, retail shopping, online sales, hotel accommodation, etc. Now let's quickly engage MP for Sanerugu and member of the Finance Committee in Parliament, Atta Issa. What are your reactions to this revised directive by the BOG? Hello, Mr. Atta Issa, if you hear me, I was just asking your quick reaction to the revised directive by the BOG. Well, sincere apologies, we don't have him on the line. When we do get him in subsequent bulletins, we will try and engage him. We seem to have a technical challenge there, but that'll be all for business news. Sports is up next.
The Business Brief was brought to you by CompuGhana, passion for technology.
And Monica Bukari is standing by with the latest from the world of sports.
Many thanks for joining me here on Sports Brief. Let's begin with the Black Stars, and Coach Otuado has unveiled a 24-man squad for Ghana's upcoming FIFA World Cup qualifiers against Chad and Mali. The list includes the return of Thomas Partey, Kamaldeen Sulemana, and 3 goalkeepers, Lawrence Atizigi, Benjamin Asari, and of course Joseph Annan. 8 defenders, 6 midfielders, and 8 forwards. The Black Stars will face Chad on Thursday, September 4th, and again return to face Mali on 8th September. Now, the Black Stars will also prepare to face Mali on that same Monday, 8th September in Accra Sports Stadium. They are expected to begin campaign on Sunday. Now, the team is boosted with the return of the kid on the block, Derek Arthur Cohn, from German side Union Berlin. Speaking on Star FM Sports Digest, Communications Director Henry Asante-Chum stated that German-born left-back is fully prepared to give us best for the Black Stars.
I think that we all know that Abdul Fattah Ishahaku has been absent for a very long time. He got injured when we played against Angola in Luanda in the AFCON qualifiers. That was last year, November. And he sustained an anterior cruciate ligament injury, which kept him out of action for about 6-7 months. He recently returned from rehabilitation. Luckily, he went through. But Derek is a player we've been looking at for a very long time. But his national team call-up has taken quite a long time, or quite some time, because he's a German and Ghanaian. Okay. And when players are of dual citizenship, they qualify to play for both countries. Eventually, when he decided to play for us, he must go through the normal, nationality switch. And you also have to ensure that the process is smooth. We've been engaging with him. We've been engaging with his parents. Even yesterday, we spoke with him to inform him about our decision to bring him at this particular time. He gladly accepted it and has decided to commit to Ghana, which we are very happy about.
And that's all for sports. My name is Monica Bukari. Back to you, Bernice.
Thank you very much, Monica. And before I go, just a quick international update. Authorities in the US say 2 children aged 8 and 10 have been killed and at least 17 people injured when a gunman opened fire on school children attending Mass at a Catholic school in the United States. The police chief of Minneapolis, Minnesota, said that of the people injured in the Wednesday morning attack, 14 are children and 2 are in critical condition. That'll be all for this edition of News Tonight with me, Bernice Abu-Baidoo. I'm grateful for your company. There's more news when you log on to starfm.com.gh. You can also follow us on all our socials via GHOne TV for timely news updates. Produced by Awusi Dede Jange and Emmanuel Jabing. From the entire team, have a good evening.